Welcome to the What is Stoicism podcast.
We've all seen the scene. A child who hasn't touched a particular toy in months suddenly becomes obsessed with it the moment another child picks it up. Their interest doesn't arise from the toy itself, but from the fact that someone else is enjoying it. The reaction might range from a quiet sulk to a dramatic tantrum, but the emotional spiral is set in motion, not by the toy, but by a judgment. Someone else has it, so I want it too. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, presents a strikingly similar situation in his discourses. He recounts the story of Epictetus, secretary to Emperor Nero, who once fired a shoemaker he considered useless. But after the shoemaker, Felicio, was hired by Caesar's household, Epictetus suddenly treated him with great reverence. "How are you, Felicio, my very dear friend," he would say, conveniently forgetting that he had recently dismissed the man as incompetent. Epictetus's point is clear. This reversal wasn't about Felicio gaining new virtues, but about Epictetus's shifting judgment, driven by status and appearances. In both these cases, the child and the secretary, the suffering is self-inflicted. The child is free to enjoy other toys. Epictetus is free to hire another shoemaker, but instead they torment themselves by placing value in what lies outside their control, and worse, by letting others dictate that value. This is one of the core teachings of Stoicism. It's not events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. What troubles us is rarely the thing itself, but the meaning we project onto it. And this is precisely where Stoicism offers a pathway to getting out of our own way, by reclaiming the authority to shape our judgments wisely, not reactively. But what does this look like outside of ancient parables and playground spats? Consider the quiet transcendence of Nan Shepherd, the Scottish mountaineer and writer best known for her meditative work, The Living Mountain. Though not a Stoic in the strict sense, Shepherd's reflections on the cairngorms align beautifully with the Stoic idea that our life is what our thoughts make it. In one lovely passage she writes, quote, "Why some blocks of stone, hacked into violent and tortured shapes, should so profoundly tranquilize the mind, I do not know. One has to look creatively to see this massive rock as more than jag and pinnacle, as beauty. It is, as with all creation, matter impregnated with mind." End quote. Shepherd describes how truly looking at the world around us becomes an act of consciousness. It's not the mountain that changes, but the mind that sees it. Like the Stoics, she emphasizes the internal over the external. The eye, not the rock, imposes rhythm and meaning. Beauty emerges not from dominance or ownership, but from attention, openness and judgment, a form of willing perception. This too is Stoicism. To pause, to resist reactive valuation, and instead to impose an internal order on the world. Where Epictetus saw Felicio through the eyes of power and prestige, Shepherd sees mountains through the eyes of love and perception. One response constrains and distorts, the other liberates and expands. And herein lies the deeper Stoic wisdom. If we are disturbed, distracted, or distressed, it's because we've allowed the world's noise to replace our own reasoning. But if we step back, whether from the tantrum over a toy or the impulse to envy another's success, we can regain our natural freedom. The mountain doesn't have to change. The toy doesn't need to be reclaimed. Felicio doesn't have to be rehired. Only the judgment must shift. Stoicism invites us to examine our assumptions, to question what we chase and why we chase it. It asks us to notice how often we relinquish control of our happiness to the world's shifting winds, and it offers us a quiet rebellion to turn inward, to think clearly and to see creatively. Like the child, we often want what others have, not because we need it, but because we haven't looked carefully at what we already possess. Like Epictetus, we sometimes let social validation override reason. But like Nan Shepherd, we can choose instead to create meaning through mindful perception. In The Living Mountain, she describes this attitude beautifully. Quote, "So simply to look on anything, such as a mountain, with the love that penetrates to its essence, is to widen the domain of being in the vastness of non-being. Man has no other reason for his existence." End quote. So to live well, Stoicism suggests, is not to avoid all discomfort, but to avoid being ruled by our misjudgments. In doing so, we begin to move out of our own way and into a life shaped with clarity, presence, and inner freedom.